What's good, fam? It's been a really long time since there have been any IPOs big enough to be worth mentioning, especially given the generally unfavorable market conditions over the first half of this year. Now though, there are three very significant companies gearing up to debut on the market in the back half of this year, and I want to talk about one of them today. You're watching Sekider, and this is an IPO to look out for at the beginning of August 2022. Now before we continue, we just like to remind you that this channel is meant for general education purposes only and isn't meant to replace the legal or financial advice from a paid professional. When it comes to investments, it's always healthy to take everything with a fair bit of skepticism regardless of the source, and that includes us. IPOs in particular are extremely unpredictable in good times, much less in times like the ones that we're going through right now. For that reason, nothing we say here should be taken as a basis for investment, and you'll have to do your own work and thinking before deciding whether taking up a position on any of the stocks, in this case SOCAR, is in your best interest. Want to know how? Well, if you just scroll down a tiny bit, hit the like and subscribe buttons, we'll do our best to help you figure out how to figure out this game for yourself. And with that being said, let's get to it. So the IPO I want to talk about is coming in a couple weeks, and given the name value of the company, you may want to put it down in your datebook or whatever you jot down your notes in. Of course, what we're talking about now is Korea's first car share company, SOCAR, or one of them. Now, SOCAR is very much considered Korea's representative mobility unicorn. The startup, which receives a whopping 97% of its revenue from car sharing, is seeking 205 billion won to help expand their operations beyond car sharing and into a full-service mobility platform that includes things like bike rentals to parking. The guidance price at this moment sits in a band between 35 and 45,000 won per share, which places it at an estimated market cap of 1.6 trillion won. Comparable Korean brands at this market cap would be like Fila, SM Entertainment, and Nongshim, all of whom are global brands with significant name value and diversified income streams. Thus, according to this article by KED Global, a significant number of market players consider this to be a fairly ridiculous overvaluation. Specifically, the company chose to estimate their valuation not based on their price to earnings, as is common in our market and most markets around the world, but rather in their EV to sales, or their enterprise value to sales, which focuses more on the company's revenue rather than their total balance sheet. This method of valuation makes sense for companies with high growth potential, and it's clear that this is the angle that they're taking with this IPO, as they're basing their guidance against other mobile platforms with international stalwarts, including Uber, Lyft, Grab, GoTo Group, and Aurora Innovation, who have all significant growth potential with current tech-based innovation in their service sector, meaning a wide range of services including, but not limited to, rideshare, food delivery, parcel delivery, and vehicle rental in their given countries. As we mentioned, however, SOCAR sales, which grew a very respectable 31% in 2021, almost exclusively came from car rentals, and it's leading a number of market players to believe that car rental companies are actually a better comparison for valuation than other mobility platforms in other countries. Now, if this is the comparison that we choose to make, the valuation of the company would significantly change, as the sales of SOCAR at 289 billion last year pale in comparison to the sales of number one rental service Lotte Rental Co., who made out with 2.4 trillion in sales and 245.5 billion in operating profit to SOCAR's 21 billion loss in OP. Thus, it's clear that whether or not you see this as a good opportunity to get in early will be based on what you think of the company's potential to grow as a mobility platform, because if we consider it in light of who they're currently competing with for their main revenue source, car sharing and rentals, it's very difficult to agree with their valuation. However, given that investing is a forward-looking pursuit, and that the company itself valued itself so highly, it's foolish not to at least look at their packages and reasoning for their pricing. Now, if their primary function at the moment is to provide car sharing and rental services, but they aim to represent themselves as a future mobility platform, it begs the question what edge they have in future mobility industries that put them above similar companies. Well, in addition to their e-bike arm Elical, their ride-hailing firm VCNC, and their online parking platform Modu, SOCAR's newest focus is on developing an autonomous driving environment with a partner company, namely RideFlux. It appears that their ultimate goal is to make a system using AI and automation that is safe and convenient enough that it ultimately replaces the need for car ownership, and in such an environment, They argue that it would provide a fundamentally more sustainable future through the reduction of total personal vehicles owned and a significant CO2 reduction because of this. The profit model appears to be one of a subscription membership basis, which is one that they've been running up to this point and has seen triple-digit growth. The fact that this hasn't really converted into operating profit isn't really worrisome if you believe in their growth potential, and if you also believe that the existing members will just compound, continue to grow in triple digits every year as they develop their platform. Thus, if you believe that they're on the edge of disrupting both public and private transportation in the future, this IPO may not be the worst time to consider jumping in. It also depends on what you think the future of transportation will be, so if you've never thought about it, maybe this is a good time to start thinking about it. Not necessarily for this IPO, but just in general. Now, it's really been a while since we've talked about IPOs, so there are a few things that you need to remember. If you do want to subscribe, you'll need to have an account with one of the investment banks involved with the IPO. For SOCAR, Mirae Asset is the listings book runner, and both Samsung and Yuanta are underwriting. So if you've got a local account with Mirae Asset or Samsung, you'll be in the clear. If you don't, you might want to get one. The subscription dates are August 10th and 11th as of the time of this posting. Additionally, given that the firm doesn't really make their books public until after they're on the market, like they don't have to, it's pretty difficult to value them from your home computer, and for that reason it's best to approach this and really any IPO with the most diligent of due diligence before going forward. Alright, that's it for me. There are a couple more big IPOs coming in the back half of this year, so I'll make videos for them as they're coming up and also after I finish looking into them. If there are any stocks you'd like me to get into, let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I'll catch you in a bit. Peace, fam.